Hey y'all, what's going on? Welcome to episode 4 of the Gotham Graffiti podcast. I'm Gunnar, this is my cousin Scott, and we have a lot going on in this episode. Before we get into any of that though, we are going to ask that you hit the subscribe button, and also if you can hit the bell, it'll let you know when we're putting new videos out. Helps the algorithm, helps more people see this, and helps us entertain more of you that enjoy this kind of content. So we have 3 things we're going to do this episode. The main one being talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This game came out 2 days ago? 2 days ago.
Yep.
And there has been footage and not even leaks, like early access footage going around for probably about a week now. So everyone and their mom kind of knows what the game is, what happens, how it happens, and all of that. So
a lot of controversy surrounding all of it.
Yes, so we both have very strong feelings.
Yes.
So I'll let Scott start first, and then we'll kind of go from there.
So yeah, I mean, well, first before we get into this, we have not played the game.
We have not played it.
At the time we filmed this episode, it's only been out for 2 days. But a bunch of leaks have come, well, not really leaks, but like gameplay footage has been released and all of that, story beats, all of that. And,
full cutscenes.
Yeah, and we'll get into it here in a second. We don't really plan on playing it for the following reasons
we're about to get into.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the biggest things surrounding Kill the Justice League, and people are like, oh, well, it says it in the title, like you shouldn't really be upset about it. It's like the fact that they actually killed the Justice League. And it's like,
It's not even the fact that they actually do it. It's the way they go about it.
It's the way they do it, because every single death, minus maybe like Wonder Woman, none of the deaths are respectful.
Wonder Woman has an honorable death.
Yeah, she's the only one that has an honorable death from what we have gathered, from what we've seen. She's the only one that either she was controlled at one point and got out of it, or she was never mind control in the first place. And so she has an honorable death with Superman. Obviously, I'm sure by the time you're watching this episode, I'm sure it's been spoiled for you, but just in case, spoiler warning.
We'll put a little marker before he
I'll
starts
put like it'll be below. But yeah, all the deaths we had. We'll get into Batman's death later because we really want to spend some time on that. But Superman gets shot down in the street.
Wait. That's not even the worst part. Okay, so for those of you that's seen it, you already know. The Suicide Squad gets gold kryptonite, okay? So Wonder Woman, who's not under Brainiac's mind control, and Superman are fighting. A very large piece of green kryptonite gets lodged into Superman's chest cavity. Like, I don't mean like it's sticking out. I mean like it's like Superman, Batman, Public Enemies. Like, it's all the way into his chest.
Yep.
He still has the strength, despite this, to kill Wonder Woman, because he's under the control of Brainiac, right? Then the Suicide Squad, with their guns, shoot him down in the street.
Yep.
So he had the strength to kill Wonder Woman, a god, the daughter of Zeus, with kryptonite in him, but couldn't survive guns. And then also, it's not even a cutscene. It's one of those, I don't know what you call it in gaming, but you'll know what I'm talking about. It's like when it's not a cutscene, but the camera pans down to whatever's happening, and it's like an in-between. They give you one of those for Superman.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, we killed Superman. Now we got to go defeat Brainiac, which is another thing we'll touch on. But
they also, in the same scene, they mourn Wonder Woman's death and not Superman's.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when Darkseid shows up again? Or whoever.
Yeah.
Lobo. Like, you just killed the planet's biggest gun, who would risk his life time and time again defending it. And you're like, oh well.
The champion of Earth just,
oh well.
It is what it is.
So I want to talk about the Flash. Do you want to talk about Green Lantern?
Well, yeah, let's get into the Flash, because that was actually what I was going to talk about next. And like, same thing, you know, he's zipping around, whatever. There's a big boss fight that happens. Same thing, just gets shot in the street. And then the most disrespectful part of it, and I'm sure everyone knows what I'm about to say, Captain Boomerang decides to, pardon my French, take a piss
on
Flash's dead body. And I'm like,
what? Hey, everybody who hasn't read a Flash comic book, Captain Boomerang would never do that.
No, he at least has some respect for the Flash.
We literally just talked about this last episode with my read of the week of the Flash Omnibus, how Flash and the Rogues have they fight against each other, but they have a level of respect for one another. You know, like as a matter of fact, I'm reading the second volume of the Flash Omnibus by Jeff Johns right now, and there's literally a point, I can't tell you why or what happens, but Wally loses his memory of being the Flash and has an interaction with Captain Cold, and he's being overtly, like, beyond reproach, like, you're a villain, you're a scumbag, answer the judge, because he doesn't remember this relationship he's at. And Captain Cold, the speech well right after it is him saying, tell it to the judge. Like, we have respect. Like, you're going to talk to me that? Like, that's the relationship he has with his rogues. Captain Boomerang would never, ever, 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 ever do that. And even if he would, don't put it in your game.
Like, yeah, it's just disrespectful. Like, what was the point in that scene?
It's just, I'm a big Flash fan, so that was heartbreaking to see. Like, it's and that's the whole thing, right? Is everyone that's defending the game thinks it's, oh, well, it's in the title. We're not even mad that they're dead. We're mad at the way they went about doing it. The way in which
they died, because every single one of the Justice League members should have had a respectful death instead of just shot in the street. You know, some kind of joke was made about him afterwards. They say some quippy line or whatever, and then they move on. It's just like that's not you know, these iconic heroes that, you know, especially we have grown up with and we've loved throughout our childhood. And the first time we see them in a, you know, AAA game besides like Injustice, they're just disrespected on a level we've never seen before. And
you got to remember, we're DCAU kids. Like we grew up on Boomerang and Cartoon Network, so all the animated series, Justice League, Batman, Superman. So like we understand these characters and what they represent and who they are, and we understand the villains from their base form. And seeing them be treated this way by these writers is very disheartening. Yeah, and it's
sad. Like it makes us sad.
It's also like we said before. Who is this game for?
Yeah,
like who's this for? For Marvel fanboys that hate DC? Like I guess. Like even like I'm not a tremendous Suicide Squad guy, but like I enjoy the Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
But I don't know who this game was for. I don't know who this game was for. Also, they allude to Tim Drake being killed. Like literally, they go. I think they're in the old movie studios in Arkham Knight, and they do this shot of Robin's mask on the ground with blood on it, implying he's been killed by Batman.
Hardly mentioned.
Just thrown away. Yeah. This Robin that we've had 2 games that we've played through and we've grown to learn to love, and his relationship with Barbara and Bruce. I mean, just like really good adaptation of Tim that we spent time with. And he gets an off-screen death that's just not really explained and just kind of, oh yeah, he killed Robin.
Just kind of brushed it off.
Just like, all right.
Yeah, and I think before we get, because we do want to talk about the Arkham Batman, but let's go ahead and talk about Green Lantern.
Yeah,
fast. It's just, I mean, another disrespectful death.
I mean, not even the disrespect. It's
there's a lot of things that don't make sense with his death because of the fact that he dies kind of in the same fashion as the other heroes.
I feel like they, out of all the deaths, and I think there are more disrespectful deaths, but it seemed like they had something against Green Lantern in this, like almost like they didn't like the character because, excuse me, he dies, and then when his ring comes off, he's in Green Lantern boxers.
Yeah.
Like Looney Tunes cartoon, like in green, like thigh-high boxers with the Green Lantern logos all around them. And then King Shark just grabs his ring and uses it to crack Brainiac's shield.
Implying that the Justice League didn't already try that.
That, and also, do they not know how the Green Lantern Corps works? That's not how it works. You don't just get to pick up the ring and use it. The ring has to choose a suitor. After a Green Lantern, I mean, it's the whole Hal Jordan thing, right? Is after the Green Lantern dies, it finds Hal at Ferris Aircraft, or, I mean, depending on the adaptation where he's at. And, like, of all people, the Green Lantern Corps and their energy, and, you know, Oh yeah, King Shark. All right, yeah. He
Uses
can use the ring.
A green shark to destroy the. It's just so corny. It doesn't make any sense.
Like he said, it's like, oh, so the Justice League didn't try that? They didn't attempt to do that?
Apparently not.
But I mean, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts on the Green Lantern death?
No. I did want to touch on the gameplay because it just.
Oh, go for it.
The gameplay, it just looks very generic. Like honestly, when I
it looks like Fortnite.
That's exactly what I was about to say. Like if you told me that, like you showed me a picture of that gameplay and told me, hey, this is a new Fortnite season coming out.
Yeah, Battle
like,
Pass.
Okay, cool. Like I would have believed you. Like I wouldn't have been like, no, that's the Suicide Squad game. Like I can't tell the difference.
Just for clarification, I know we said that we said the gameplay looked fun a couple episodes ago. Mm-hmm. At the time, it did. We didn't think that's all there was to it. Yeah. And it's like, this is the game.
Just a run and gun with jetpacks and grappling hooks.
Like everyone has a jetpack. Captain Boomerang uses a gun and not boomerangs.
Yep.
Like King Shark uses a gun. Like it just doesn't make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, I think you're right. I think the gameplay looked very generic and very. I'm sure it's fun. Like I'm sure it's fun your first playthrough, but I don't imagine that's like with the Arkham game, even with the Spider-Man games. You're like, I want to go back and play. I want to do these fights. It's like at least for me, I looking at it wouldn't be like, oh, I need to go back and replay Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Like I just wouldn't. I wouldn't really care for it. Mm-hmm. Also, really quick before we get to Batman. So everyone treated Gotham Knights way too harshly, obviously.
Oh yeah, I'm playing through Gotham Knights right now, and I saw I won't say what happened. So you're telling me that people hated this game and people were so excited for Justice League or Kill the Justice League, and I'm like, why on earth were y'all judging this game so harshly? Like despite the fact, and yes, Batman does die at some point in the Gotham Knights game, but I'm like, why were people hating on this game? Because they gave, even though it wasn't Arkham Batman, they still gave Batman. It was an honorable death. It was an honorable death. He went out protecting the city, fighting I won't say who, but a rogue who he's gone toe-to-toe with multiple times.
Made sense.
It made sense. It was a very worthy adversary, very honorable death, and he did it and everyone mourned his death. Like it wasn't like, oh yay, Batman's dead. Like the entire, the Gotham Knights, they all mourned his death. And Alfred, like, there's a whole scene of him, like, trying to recoup after his death and all of that. I'm like...
And it's not even, like, a one-off. Like, throughout the game.
It's throughout the entirety of the gameplay. Like, they talk about...
It's mourning him.
His legacy, and, like, there's... Because I played through with... So far, I played through with Nightwing.
Yeah.
And because, Nightwing is essentially Bruce's oldest son. And, like, the entire time, he's like, I don't know how I can, be the leader that this team needs me to be. What would Bruce want me to do? He's kind of having to hold all of this and be the leader inside of him. And I'm like, they just didn't do any of that with this.
And I've played through it 3 times as Red Hood. I played through it twice as Red Hood and once as Nightwing. And even with the Red Hood, like, obviously Red Hood's not the leader, but, like, he has his own, like, mourning Bruce, figuring out, like, I can't be the man I once was. Like, I have to be better. Bruce wouldn't have wanted this. There are cutscenes throughout the game where it's like flashbacks. And it's like you see their relationship and like all these other things. And it's like, if you didn't like Gotham Knights, it wasn't Arkham, I get it. But I've seen it all over Twitter and Instagram and YouTube as well. Like people being like, we judged this game way too harshly.
Yeah.
This is actually a pretty good game. So if you haven't played Gotham Knights, go play Gotham Knights. It's a really good game.
Yeah, and even on the note of the flashbacks, because I've actually played certain parts of the story with all 4 of the characters.
Yeah.
And that flashback thing you're talking about, there's one with Robin as well. And they have this whole bonding moment. Because, he was Robin at the time, so he was directly under Batman during that time. Yeah. And so he, of all 4 of them, he has the most outward showing of, like, grief.
Yes.
And, like, there's this whole thing he has, like, this whole sub-story with him and Alfred. Like, and they're bonding over, like, this is what Bruce would have wanted you to do. This is where you need to go from here. I'm going to miss him, too. Like, it's just, they treated Batman's death, which we're about to talk about it, very respectfully. And
it was done well.
Going straight into it, the way that they killed Batman, especially Kevin Conroy's Arkham Batman, is probably one of the most disrespectful things I've ever seen gaming ever.
It was done atrociously. I mean, it's just the leaks. So for everyone that doesn't know, the leaks were real. Yep. He gets shot down on a park bench by Harley Quinn. And it's just, what's even more frustrating is they're using this in the Arkham universe, where I know not everyone's seen it. If you've seen the animated tie-in, it's a movie. It's called Batman: Assault on Arkham. It came out actually.
It was 2014.
Yeah, it came out 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And it takes place in the Arkhamverse. It's all the same members of the Suicide Squad, plus, Killer Frost and Black Spider. And Batman takes them all out within a minute.
It's a really cool scene.
It's great. He takes them, and it's like, oh, well, yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, this isn't Ra's al Ghul, Bane, Deathstroke. It's Harley Quinn, King Shark. Of course he takes these guys out.
Yeah.
And the idea that King Shark, Harley Quinn, Captain Boomerang, and Deadshot were the end of Batman. And it's the way they did it. It's that he has this monologue where he's cutting he's cutting down the Suicide Squad and
just very corny dialogue.
And he just gets shot. Like he gets shot in the head, and it's just like that's the end of Arkham Batman.
Yeah, like because I've heard a bunch of people saying like, oh, it's just a bunch of Arkham fanboy crybabies talking about how he can never be killed, and I'm like,
it's not that.
No, it's this Batman. We've seen him through 3-4 games, plus other tie-ins of DLCs, and there's even a movie about him. And he's possibly one of the most gifted, I should say, well-versed Batman. Like he's got all of his gadgets, his fighting style. Like it's almost unmatched over.
It's comic book Batman.
Yeah, and the fact that he was unable to resist mind control. The fact that he just willingly picked up a gun and started using it, and the fact that bloodlusted Arkham Batman was defeated by these 4 members, and the way in which he was taken out, I honestly think, thankfully this isn't Kevin Conroy's last appearance as voicing Batman. We did get news that he's in 2 other projects he recorded before he passed. But still, the fact that this is the last time we're seeing Arkham Batman, and this is how he's treated.
And I keep seeing people say, "Well, Kevin agreed to do it." It's like, guys, he's a voice actor. Yeah. It's his job. Like, it's in the Arkhamverse. Of course, he agreed to do it. But it's not done well. Like, and that was the whole reason we brought up Gotham Knights. Is it's not that we're opposed to Batman dying.
No, not at all. Or even the Justice League in general.
Yeah, it's just like y'all did it terrible. It's just you didn't have Paul Dini. You didn't, it's just, people brought up the character bios, like if you're comparing the character bio of Wonder Woman and Green Lantern, the one I kept seeing, they just dog Green Lantern.
For no reason.
They just dog him and make Wonder Woman, which, this isn't against Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman should be praised, 100%, but not at the expense of the other Justice League members. Right. It's just... Yeah,
and that was one of the things I touched on earlier. I have no problem with the Justice League dying. And I have no problem with Wonder Woman having an honorable death. She should. She's one of the founding members of the Justice League. She's part of the Trinity.
She's Zeus's daughter.
Absolutely. But the fact that she was the only one that got an honorable death, and all the other male characters in the Justice League were just taken out in the most disrespectful, didn't make sense ways possible. I'm just like, what are we doing, guys? Like, what are we doing?
It didn't make a lot of sense. So overall, we are not going to play the game. No. We're not waiting on Game Pass. We both are of the same mind. Just we're not supporting this game. Yeah. We're not playing it. It's a shame what happened. The only golden light at the end of the tunnel is if we get a Red Hood revenge game. If we get that, then maybe I'll play it just so I understand what's happening when Red Hood kills everyone.
Like Red Hood, Azrael, Nightwing.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Just going after the Suicide Squad.
Yes.
That would be cool. I would play that.
I would play that. I would play that. But. Yeah, so a little bit of a rant there. From that, we're going to move on to the Read of the Week. Okay, so this week's Read of the Week, I'm giving you 2 books. I'm giving you 2 books because I couldn't decide between the 2, and I wanted to do both. They're both smaller, so compensation. The first one, Daredevil, No Fear. Okay, so this is, this Chip Zdarsky run of Daredevil is probably one of my favorite run in comic books. This is what made me a Daredevil fan. I always looked at Daredevil as kind of just a...
blind Batman?
Yeah, just like, oh, he's cool, but like, you know, no big deal. And one day we were at our comic shop, and I was getting a haul, and I saw this, and I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll get a Daredevil book. And then I had to go get every other book in the series because it was so good. This is just, it's Matt Murdock. I'm not going to say past his prime, but kind of an aging Daredevil. He's been doing it a while, and he's trying to find himself again. It's a great Daredevil and Kingpin story. There's a lot of really good Kingpin stuff in this. Elektra ends up showing up, and she's done really well in this, as well as you get Spider-Man and you get Iron Man. You get, you know, it's just really well done. I mean, I can't tell you a whole lot without spoiling things because it's such a... It's not even... If you read the first run, it's 7 books or 6 books, but then there's like... Zdarsky's got another Daredevil run, which ties into this. I think it's a total of like 11 books. I 100% recommend you going to get this. Zdarsky's probably one of my favorite writers right now. He's doing a Batman run right now that I can't wait to read. Like I said, for someone who was not a big Daredevil guy, I mean, made me fall in love with the character. This made me go watch the show. I binged the show in like 2 weeks. Like it just, Daredevil is such a cool character, and I'm upset that I didn't know about it until now. Go pick this book up. It's still in print. It's still, any comic book shop you go to should have it, or if not, they can get it from somewhere else. You can get it on Amazon, eBay. Just do yourself a favor. At the very least, read this book, and I would highly recommend you continue into reading the rest of the series, because it's just, after reading this, I've read some more Daredevil. This is still the best Daredevil I've ever read. I read the Frank Miller stuff. You know, I've read a good amount of Daredevil now. He got me, for my birthday, he got me... It
was like the classic
Marvel, one of the Marvel collections of like classic Daredevil, and I loved that. But like, this is just the best Daredevil I've ever read. I still feel this way. I can't wait. This is one of those things, I can't wait to go reread it, which I think that says a lot about comic books.
So would you compare that to like, maybe it's like Daredevil's Dark Knight Returns kind of thing?
Maybe, yes and no. I mean, same kind of idea. It's not, he's not as old, he's not as worn down.
Like he doesn't come out of retirement.
No, it's not, he's not a coming out of retirement thing. It's more so just he's been doing it so long, he's lost his way.
Oh, gotcha.
And he's trying to find his way back to who he is.
Like his core values.
Yes, okay. It's done very well. Like I said, once it transitions past that into the Kingpin stuff, it's just great. So that's part 1 of my read of the week. My second, One Bad Day, Bane. Okay, so this is a series, I think they're doing an omni of these at the end of the year, I believe. But they did a series where they're doing these, it's a spin-off of The Killing Joke, The One Bad Day, and they've got, in the set, it's Joker, Bane, Mr. Freeze, Clayface, Ra's al Ghul, Penguin, Catwoman, and the Riddler. Mm-hmm. And Two-Face. And this one is probably one of my favorites in the series. It's Bane in retirement. Bane's in retirement. And you see what he's doing in retirement. You see, probably, honestly, one of my top 5 favorite interactions between him and Batman in this. It's just, because it's so short, I can't tell you a whole lot. But it's just, if you're a Bane fan, if you're looking for something different, this is it. Read the whole One Bad Day saga. They're all great. The Two-Face one's really good too. The Mr. Freeze one's really good. But just, I love this. I read it in about 45 minutes, 30 minutes. It was easy to push through. The art in it's great. Like, you camera probably won't pick it up from the distance, but I mean, the art in it is great. It's just really, really enjoy it. If you like Bane, if you like that lore of Batman, pick this one up. It's one you can't miss.
All right, so moving on from our read of the week, we'll do one more thing to close it out. This will be a little bit smaller of a segment. It'll be one that we've done before. It's overrated, underrated. We're not going to give you a giant list like we did last time. We're just going to go over really just one movie that I picked that I really thought was underrated. And for those of you who haven't watched it, I would definitely recommend it. And it's a little bit out of left field, honestly. Okay. It's I have Batman versus Robin as underrated.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, and like, cause I remember when we were trying to come up with like a movie for this segment, I'm like, man, what on earth am I gonna pick? Because there's so many good choices.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like,
Wasn't
man,
expecting that.
well, no, and I was sitting there. I was like, well, because I've mentioned early in the episode, like I've been playing through Gotham Knights. And there's the whole Court of Owls thing, and I'm like, man, like I wish there was a Court of Owls movie. Oh wait, there was a Court of Owls movie. So, like I said, the Court of Owls, like it's just.
Oh wait! You mean Batman versus Robin?
That's what I said.
I heard Batman and Robin.
No, Batman versus Robin.
I thought he meant the George Clooney movie.
No.
And I was like, oh, I don't know how I'm going to side with him on this. Okay, so he's talking
about the Schwarzenegger freeze?
Yes.
No,
I thought that's
no,
I was like,
no.
all right, interesting. Okay.
No. But, so Batman versus Robin.
The
not
animated
Batman
picture.
And Robin.
All
No,
right.
no. I'm not going to defend that movie.
Okay, yeah.
No, but anyway, so like I was going to say, the Court of Owls is just done so well in this movie. Yeah. Like we've never, other than this movie, there's never really been an adaptation of the Court of Owls in film format, and this, I mean, it does it very well. Talon is awesome in that movie. They're one of the leaders of the Court of Owls. He's such a threat to Batman. We have Robin's story arc. Damian's not my favorite Robin at all. Dick Grayson will always be my favorite Robin. But going back, I rewatched it not too long ago. I can appreciate the arc that he goes through, like how angry and angsty he was, trying to get back at Batman for, feeling like he abandoned him and like having him raised by Ra's al Ghul and all of that. And so Batman and Robin's relationship in this obviously is Batman versus Robin.
Right.
But it's done very well. We get to see a lot of fighting between them, but we also get to see them overcome that and like accept father and son kind of relationship at the end.
Yeah.
And the ending fight, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a huge fan of this movie. I actually am a pretty big fan of Damian Wayne. I know that's unpopular. I'm not saying he's my favorite Robin. I think there's a lot of, not saying you, but like I think there's a lot of Damian Wayne hate, and I think a lot of it just comes from not understanding the character.
Yeah.
I really like Damian. So to his point, his arc in this movie is great. Also, one of my favorite things about this movie in terms of the Court of Owls adaptation is the fact that they have a Talon leader. A lot of times you don't see that. A lot of times in Court of Owls adaptations, you just see the zombified Talons.
Right.
And seeing the Talons have a leader who is a just insane martial artist. He's built like a tank, and he's super smart. He's super smart. The stuff with him and the leader of the court, it's in terms of Court of Owl adaptation, it's probably one of my favorites. I love it. He's great in it. And to his point, I think of all the DC movies of that slate, this one probably has top 3 fight choreography in it.
Oh, absolutely!
Oh my gosh!
When all the Talons break into to Wayne Manor and they go back to the cave, and Batman, Damian, and Dick Grayson, they're just throwing hands.
Alfred with the shotgun.
Like there's just so many cool moments.
You see the Hellbat suit.
Yeah, and then you have the Talon versus Bruce fight at the very end where both their masks are ripped off and Batman barely beats him. It's just it's so cool. And it's one of those movies that I think gets overlooked a lot of times with like Justice League War or Justice League Dark Apocalypse. Some of the other movies that are thrown there, and it was one of the earlier ones that they did in the DCAU. So I think a lot of times it gets overlooked, and especially with, like you said, a lot of the Damian hate that there is. I was on that train for a long time. I really did not like Damian. One of the ways I kind of like got over that, or kind of I came around to Damian, was after Justice League Dark Apocalypse, when we actually get to see him like
the conclusion of his arc.
a grown up, mature Damian Wayne, and yes, like I said earlier, like at the end of Batman versus Robin, they do kind of have like a we're father son moment, but like that really does happen at the end of
you don't really get that satisfaction.
You get that payoff in Dark Apocalypse, but obviously that was many years down the road. But
and I think to your point also of it being overlooked, I think the fact that it was a sequel to Son of Batman.
Yes.
Excuse me. When Son of Batman came out, a lot of people, it was very divided. I mean, I loved it, but like a lot of people didn't like it. They didn't like that Damian was the Robin. People didn't like it.
Yeah.
And I think because it was the sequel off that, it suffered for it. It's better than Son of Batman, I think.
Oh yeah.
It's truly one of my favorite. It's in my top 5 of the DC animated movies. I think that's a great pick. I really do. It's such a good movie. If you haven't seen, also, they handle the Court of Owls not in terms of a physical aspect super well, but in terms of a mental aspect. I mean, the music choice, the pacing, like
the way Talon influences Damian's choices throughout. Like it's just because the Court of Owls is like this mysterious secret society controlling Gotham for centuries kind of thing, and they use the angst that Damian feels towards his father to like get him to turn on Batman, which I mean.
Also, if you're a Nightwing fanboy like this guy, watch it. Nightwing is an unsung hero in this movie.
Oh, yeah.
You think he's just a side character, but the stuff he does in the build-up to the finale of the movie is great. Him in the end of the movie is great. Like, you get like the back-to-back Batman. And it's like it's one of those adaptations where you really get to see Nightwing and see what he can do.
Yes,
like he's not just the Robin that grew up. Like he's that guy.
He doesn't get like hurt halfway through and he has to sit out.
No, like he's that. I mean, there's a point, but he comes back even still fighting. Like it's just you see Nightwing being Nightwing. So if you're a Nightwing fanboy, check it out.
Yeah,
but all right.
I think that'll do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, if you would please hit the subscribe bell, get that algorithm going. We really appreciate it. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.